All right. What is going on, everyone? It is Hollywood Hangout. It is Thursday night, and holy shit, we've got a surprise for you guys. This is a Hollywood Hangout first tonight, and we'll get into that. I am Boxman. Across from me is this beautiful man who'll tell you who he is right now.
That's right. Voice of Generation Smark Whalberg. How are you? I am cold.
I'm cold. Actually, today it got up to 60 today. We got lucky.
Nice.
Kids have not been in school all week. They're going back for one day tomorrow.
How'd you fare over the weekend? Did you keep your power? Was it icy?
We were lucky to keep our power because we were looking at a lot of people without it. It was I mean, ice here. It was definitely snow. But the snow turned into hard packed ice. I didn't leave here for 3 days.
Right.
Finally, I needed beer yesterday, so I ventured out.
That shit's always funny because, like, when people do their panic buying at the grocery stores, it's like it's always the same essentials. It's the bread, it's the milk, it's the eggs, which I don't understand. If the power goes out, what are you doing with the eggs? But you get the bread, the milk, the eggs, and then like everybody just starts buying after that the shit that they actually want. So like you'll like see a run on potato chips or frozen pizza or beer. It's just funny, like the secondary items aside from the essentials that people buy up.
Yeah. But you know, eggs, if you run out of power and you have a gas stove, you can light it with a lighter and that'll still work. They're also really easy to cook eggs over fire.
That's true.
And out here, you know, people will just fucking walk outside and start a fire. So, but we were lucky we kept power. I mean, the power here goes out with a fucking bad rainstorm. So the fact that we still have power was really shocking to me. We didn't freeze any pipes, nothing. Really, we were lucky. We were pretty lucky out here, but the other night it got down to 9. Felt like 4, according to my WeatherBug app on my phone. And I'm like, well, I'm not fucking going outside. My daughter's like, I'm going outside. I'm like, you bye.
Have fun. Yeah, no, it was like 5 here, and I usually go out at night with Charlie. Goes outside, does his business, but it's funny because normally he likes to hang out there, but it's gotten to the point where even him being a puppy and wanting to play outside, he'll go outside, go to the bathroom, demand to be right back inside the house, and I was like, all right, I'm not about to argue with you. I had to read the same problem as like there wasn't a lot of snow. There was like a very small amount of snow, and I went outside. It was just a lot of rain. And then like Saturday night or Sunday night, I went outside and just ice on top of ice on top of ice on the power lines. And I was like, fuck, here we go. But nothing happened, luckily enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. We both got lucky. Good. Are you guys still getting some of the weather, or is it kind of past you now?
Not really. It's supposed to snow again Friday night into Saturday, but maybe an inch or 2, if even.
Yeah, we're supposed to get some of that possibly Wednesday, Thursday of next week too. So we're gonna get some of that coming this way. But otherwise, man, we had I would say we got about 2.5 inches of snow, and then it just turned to ice the next day because it was so fucking cold that night. But my daughter got to see snow falling for once. We've never really got to see that out here. We've been through ice storms out here, but she got to see snow fall, and she was so excited. She went and played in it, and I was watching it through the window.
What about the puppy? How'd the puppy deal?
They brought the dogs out. They loved it. All the puppies loved it. All of them. The only one that didn't like it was little Rose, because literally she couldn't walk in it. I mean, her legs are only this big. So, she's trying to walk and she can't because she's like floating on ice. So she couldn't do much in the snow. I had to kind of bring her in, but no, the good thing is right from my kitchen window, I can watch my kids play. As long as they don't go to this around the side or the back of the house, I can see my whole front yard through my kitchen window.
Right.
and we don't even have blinds up there. We wanted the light to come in through the windows, so I can watch them play, and I'll just sit there usually and watch them if it's like that outside. 'Cause I'm just I think we've established on but as long as we've been together, I don't like cold.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. It's always cool to see like the dogs because a lot of the dogs love the snow. It's cool to see them spaz out in the snow. I was talking to Dirk the other day and I was telling him like 2 or 3 years ago at this point. Not Charlie, but Roxy, the dog I had before Charlie. She had gotten up there in age. She was having a little bit of problem. She wasn't like in massive pain, but she was having a little bit of problem like moving around towards the end there. And
Mhm.
like there was a lot. There was one day where it's a lot of snow and ice, and so like I didn't want her like trying to walk through and navigate all that shit, like slipping on the ice and trying to navigate through the snow or whatever. So I spent like an hour and a half just without stop, without breaks, just fucking shoveling the ever loving shit out of the yard. Just
Wow.
like to the point where it was like I don't know 20 something degrees and I was still drenched in sweat because I was just like fucking breaking all the ice and throwing the snow and all that shit. And so like I clear off one side of the yard, let her outside. She fucking beelines for the snow and ice portion of the yard. I was just like, you know what? Fuck you. You get what you deserve. Like, if you fall, that's your own business. I did what I could. Go straight to hell.
Yeah, you knew that was gonna happen, but good on you to go out and break and that's worse when you sweat 'cause the cold becomes more biting. Oh, I think Smark accidentally hit a wrong button. He'll be back in a minute, but, you know what? While he's coming back, I don't know what just happened there. I'll let y'all know what is going on for tonight. Um, a little different, a Hollywood Hangout first, absolutely, and that is the movie Parasite from 2019. Um, Smart had suggested it. It's in Korean, which I'm not sure he knew before he suggested it, but it is. So that I just heard Smark. He's coming back in right now. I'm not touching anything, and there he is. Did you hit a wrong button?
Nope. I was right in the middle of talking or hearing you talk, and it just said it was like it needed to reconnect, and then it just never did.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, you're back. Good, good, good. So I just told him what we're doing. Parasite.
I will say real quick, I felt like a little bit of an asshole because we were like talking about what we were planning on doing or what we wanted to do and all this kind of stuff, and I hit you with it like, if at all possible, can we like keep it to like 2 hours or less most of the time? And then I was like, all right, so now that it's my turn, it's going to be over 2 hours and it's going to be in subtitles. So like, that was a fucking dick move.
No, you know what? I'm glad you made me watch this. To be honest with you, I don't have a lot of like trivia and stuff. I looked up a few things to understand Korean culture a little bit better, and we'll get into those a little later. But I'm glad you picked this. I had heard about this movie. People were talking about how good it was when it came out in 2019. Um, and I'm glad I watched this. What a fucking movie. And here's the picture for it, folks. What a good movie this was. Really, I loved it. It had twists, it had turns. You really didn't know what was going to happen until it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was expected. The name is a little, I'm not quite sure where they got the name Parasite from, but I guess as we dig into it a little more, maybe we'll talk about that. But I just thought that he did it again. What the hell's happening? But folks, I got to tell you, this was not a movie that I would probably sit down and watch if it wasn't recommended to me. But I am glad it got recommended to me. It is Smart knew and Smart picked a very, he's coming back in right now. Smart picked a very good movie here. Very well made. I will say the the details were so good in this movie. And it I literally well, I was telling Smart before we started the show, I had just watched this movie like at this point, like an hour ago. was when I finished it, but I kept having to rewind because I'm reading and I'm like, well, what the fuck just happened there? Okay, so because I wanted to see everything, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, that didn't make sense. And then I go back and I'm like, holy fuck, that does make sense.
Right.
But man, Smart, this was an incredible movie. I guess we'll just kind of I gotta tell you, I'm not even sure where to go. I guess I can give a quick oversight real quick of what I took the movie as. It's a out of work, lower class family, because this movie definitely is trying to show you lower class and high class people. It is definitely showing you the difference in them trying to move from lower to higher class.
It's a lot of
But
use of stairs, stairways, people going upstairs, going downstairs.
right, right, you're right. Which and that was a definite part of the movie. Again, the detail. But they're a lower class family who ends up conning a richer family into hiring each and every one of them for different things. And it gets fucking insane. By the end of the movie, it Parasite is the movie about Virgil or Ed Leslie. Neither, sir. I'm sorry. But there's, I mean, you know, they're doing well. You really thought this con was going to go through. But right when it starts getting to where you think the movie's going to wrap up and the con's going to go through, because you're like, well, where else can this go? It turns into a murder story. It was unbelievable. I don't know, man. I thought this was. I didn't care what language it was in. I'll be watching this again. Number one, I just thought it was great. This was absolutely a good pick, Smark. It was a really good, twisty, turny movie. I was not expecting. You knew something was up when the lady was out, when the old housekeeper, and you know, we'll get. Trust me, folks. I'm not going to spoil every movie anymore for you guys. You guys are going to have to start watching these yourself because you're going to want to watch these. Is what's going to happen. But when the housekeeper came back, the old housekeeper came back, and she was all giggly and busted up. We never found out how she got busted up. That's the only answer that never got answered in this movie, was how she got busted up.
I think maybe, because I hadn't really thought about that question that much either, but she ended up cutting the power line to the security camera. So maybe in the process of doing that, that could have happened.
Maybe she fell. Good point. Very good point. But man, I'm sitting there watching this movie. I was 30 minutes into it, and my wife came out, and she's like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "It's called Parasite. It's in Korean." So I feel like I'm reading a movie. And she's like, "You hate doing that." I'm like, this movie's incredible so far, and I'm only 29 minutes in.
I mean, that more than anything, when I watched it the first time, because this is the second time that I watched it, it's cool because if you watch it again, you can kind of see some of the seeds being planted. Because you mentioned when Mr. Park is talking to the driver, the new driver, the driver that they end up hiring, that ultimately ends up being the dad of the Kim family.
Right.
And he's talking about the old housekeeper, and he said the only problem he ever really had with her was that it felt like she ate so much that she was eating for two.
Yes.
And it's like, ooh, shit, they are setting that up right in the middle. Like before you even get the big reveal of what's going on, you get those little seeds planted.
Yeah, and I didn't even pick up on that until we see what's in the basement. And then you're like, what the fuck is happening? Okay. I mean, you know, you got fucking dungeons and the fact that everything goes on in that basement, I think, is another kind of tale, because the place that the you know, the lower class family lives in, they call a semi basement. But there's a lot of I don't, there's so much symbolism, and just the production and the editing in this movie was absolutely second to none. This movie, I mean, and even with the picture I just had up, it was showing you this film won many awards. I think I have the awards. Hold on here. I do. I just need to find them. But yeah, it's just, I mean, this was just such a fucking fun movie to watch. Now, I will say that house is not real. The house was a set, the park house. It was a very sleek house. It had a lot of, as you said, stairways and lines, but it was all different sets, and the house is not real. But
When I learned that, it actually made me a little sad because I was like, man, that'd be such a fucking awesome house to live in. It's like, well, it's not even a real house. Like, fuck.
no, it wasn't a real house, because people originally people were saying it was a real house. Now, the director of this movie is Bong Joon-ho. I think I did okay with that. Smark's going to read the actors' names.
I'm gonna try.
You're going to do better than me. You're going to do that. I mean, we only need to go through the Parks family and the other. We don't need to get into the crazy actors. Really, it's just really there's only 8 main actors we need to talk about, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I'm sorry, Smark, I can't tie this movie to NYPD Blue.
See, I thought there was a little bit of a hope there because the director directed the movie Snowpiercer, and that is like primarily American actors or like actors that have been in a lot of American things.
But it's in Korean.
So I was thinking, I don't know if Snowpiercer is. I think Snowpiercer is in English. That was another movie.
I'll be honest. I was just looking at Snowpiercer and about to download it, and it says it's in Korean.
Huh. I see, and I watched it, but I watched it a long time ago, so I could have swore that it was in English, but maybe not.
I went ahead and downloaded it because I just watched a movie from Korea and it was unbelievable. So, and this writer and he wrote and directed it. He wrote it with Han Jin Woon.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was his name. Han Jin Woon. I'm sorry, folks.
That's right.
But I definitely want to watch it. I mean, this guy is better than John Woo.
Okay, so if you want to watch any of the other ones that he did, I would say Memories of a Murder would be where you would want to go because it's more of like a kind of like it's a mystery cop kind of situation.
Oh, shut up. Not you. I'm sorry.
All right.
I was talking to the dogs. I'm not talking to you. I totally apologize.
But it's like a murder mystery thing, and so it is about like 2 police officers that try to solve a murder, and it's kind of got like the good cop, bad cop element in there. And one of the cops like routinely drop kicks people, which it's a drama. It's not a comedy, but just for some just out of the like out of nowhere, it would be a motherfucker will get drop kicked. So it's like kind of wild. It's a good one. It's a good one. I saw Snowpiercer a very long time ago, and I didn't particularly care for it, but a lot of other people like it. So I don't know. Maybe it was just one of those you got to watch again and give it a second chance. I don't know.
Did they make a TV show out of that in the U.S.?
Believe so.
I believe
it was on like TBS, TNT, something like that.
I'll check it out because I'll tell you the truth. I was kind of, man, I'm gonna try to watch this. I'm gonna see what happens. And I was hooked after the first 6 minutes of the movie. I mean, they immediately hook you, and then you have all these little parts, and and one of the things I looked up is one part in the movie when
True North cracked the code. Boxman loving a film about a housekeeper living in the basement. I'm shocked. I actually didn't even make that connection until he just mentioned that. That's a very.
I didn't either. But look, it's her choice. Okay, she's trying to keep her husband. Anyway,
she's also sending messages in Morse code.
Yeah, I knew that's why my lights in the front porch blue. Anyway, at one point the daughter of the lower class family, who they call Jessica, when she's interviewing with the Parks family, she does this little jingle to remember all the details that he told them about her Chicago school and all that stuff. Um, and I was like, that's got to be some sort of symbolism. So I looked up what the jingle she did was. It was for a famous Korean nursery rhyme called Dokdo is Our Land. It's supposed to be a song to assert South Korea's sovereignty over the Dokdo Islands. And in the film, it serves as a bit of irony and to solidify the lie. So I don't know. I thought that was something I should look up, and I did just for the hell of it. Um, but that was one thing I looked up. Also wanted to look up what the fuck Ramadan is.
Mm-hmm.
And because I had no clue. At one point, when the family is coming home, right before the fit hits the shan, I mean, literally right before the shit hits the fan, folks. When they're coming back from a camping trip, they ask the mother, who's the housekeeper, to make Ramadan. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Because I saw you saw they were just doing something with ramen. Well, basically all it is two different kind of noodles, cheap noodles, like 90-cent noodles thrown together, and you add a meat to it. The key part of that was the beef they used. The Hanwoo beef is basically what Kobe beef or Wagyu would be in America. Fancy Korean beef is what this was. So it was basically showing that they can take a 90-cent meal and be fancy people and, put this expensive beef in it.
Yeah,
So
they didn't want their kid eating commoner food, so they like threw in the fancy meat to make it seem like it's more elegant than it actually is.
yeah, and then the wife ate it.
Because he didn't want it nothing to do with it.
Oh man, this I didn't look up too much, but I did find out one fact that Bong Joon-ho was actually kind of the inspiration for Kevin, the son of the lower class family in the movie. Um, he actually was a tutor during when he was in school, and he was tutoring a wealthy child. So it kind of worked out that way. One of his quotes when he was being interviewed was, I felt like I was spying on private lives of strangers. Every week I would go into their house, and I thought how fun it would be if I could get all my friends to infiltrate the house one by one. So it sounds like a little bit of his youth was kind of thrown into this movie. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool when you can take a little bit of your life experience. Good dog. A little bit of your life experiences and throw them into movies like this, especially a movie as detailed as this. And and one of the things he actually told the kid who played Kevin, okay, Choi Woo Shik.
I did. Okay, there was I was blocking the. Yeah, that's right. Troy Wusi. I wanted to make sure
Okay.
because I
When
was looking at
he
IMDb and there was just a big old tab that said back to top and it was blocking his name. I was like, "Would you fucking move?" I kept trying to
Oh,
scroll up,
okay, I'm
scroll
seeing
down, and
that.
it kept getting blocked by the back to top tab.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I said that right. He actually told him to stay skinny because he wanted him to remain looking hungry, hungrier than the Parks. So he looked a little more like he was starving, which I mean, if you watch this film, that's exactly what they are. They're a starving family. Um, and this film did win the Palme d'Or at the 2019 Cannes Film Festival. It's the first Korean film to ever do so. That was right there on the picture I had up earlier. You guys saw that. And you mentioned the stairs and the things like that. That's a little bit of a nod to Alfred Hitchcock. The staring, the windows, the fact that there's the giant windows in the backyard and in the home. That is another little Alfred Hitchcock thing. And there is actually a little out of place Alfred Hitchcock collection in the Parks home if you look.
Nice.
So it was a little. What was that? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say this is a big part of like not only the stairs, but there's like a recurring theme about crossing lines. How the owner of the house, the father of the house, doesn't like Mr. Park doesn't like it when you cross lines. And like as soon as Kevin gets there, he sees the housekeeper, the original housekeeper, like in the backyard. The wife, Mrs. Park, who like fucking passed out on the table, and there's like a line that the housekeeper has to cross. They show it in the window that she has to step past to clap and wake her up because she's in a stupor. I want to get your opinion on this because I saw some people say that like they thought the wife was like sedated and like on drugs the entire time, but then it kind of just gets put out there that basically she's not the brightest of all people. So it was a question of like, do you think she's on anything, or do you think she's just sort of not the brightest of all people?
The hell was that sound? Anyway, I don't know. I definitely they even talk about how naive she is, how nice and naive she is.
They literally say simple. Well, I don't know if they say it like, but in the subtitles they say she's simple.
Right. So, you know what? They actually say it in English. Simple. So I believe it is the same. Like I said, I just watched this movie.
True North, like where the rich American family would be based in the U.S. remake. His guess would be Colorado.
Colorado. With windows, probably with windows like that. Oh, I don't know. Colorado would be nice. I'm only 12 hours. I've thought of taking the drive out to Colorado for a weekend.
There's a lot of like hills and like mountain situation in the original movie, so Colorado wouldn't be a bad call.
Wouldn't be. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Now, there's another thing throughout this movie that I wanted to figure out what was going on, and that's the stone.
Mm-hmm.
Because the stone, right at the beginning, we see it gifted to Kiwoo,
yeah.
Kevin. Let's just call him Kevin. Can we just call him Kevin?
That is what I had forgot about when I watched it the first time I was watching it again. Because you had mentioned it, you were like, you just picked this because you wanted to see me try to struggle through these names, didn't you, motherfucker? And that was my immediate thought after we had locked it in, was like, oh God, one of us is going to have to take a stab at these names. Both of us might have to take a stab at these names. We are fucked. And then my other thought was, well, let's see how we can connect this to NYPD Blue. And you threw in the wave the white flag there.
I tried. I tried. I did. I looked at every single person. Not one of them had been in NYPD Blue.
So the point I was ultimately going to make, and I got lost in a minute there, was luckily for our benefit, pretty much they gave multiple people in the movie American names to make it easier for people to talk about the movie, presumably. Yeah, so there you go. We can stick to, there's Kevin, there's Jessica is the name of the sister. There's a couple of different ones, I believe. So yeah, so that's at least, it makes it a little bit more convenient.
Yeah, it did. It did make it a little easier to get through some of the stuff. But oh gosh, excuse me, that shot made me burpy. Okay, let's now. So I looked up the stone because I wanted to know what is this stone and how does it tie into the Korean culture, because I've seen these before, but I've never like known what they are. So what they are, they're called scholar stones. That's what they translate to in English. I'm going to try this word. Suseok. Suseok. Loosely translated scholar stone. So I probably said it wrong. And it's pretty important in the film, because if you watch what's going on, by the end of the film, he's saying it clings to me. It's clinging to me, this stone, because the stone is gifted to him by his friend Min. I'm leaving it at Min. And his claim is the stone brings wealth to families. So the Koreans have collected these stones for thousands of years, but they became fixtures during the Joseon dynasty in 1392 to 1897. That is a long dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
That must have been a family dynasty that just went from generation to generation. Well, they were commonly displayed on writing tables of Confucius scholars, hence the name Scholar Rocks. Now, as I said, it's gifted to Kevin and the family by men. And these are natural rocks. They're just in rivers and streams out in Korea. Strangely, the stone floats when the house is flooded with shit.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a stone float, Mark, but it was kind of a metaphor in the movie.
I think the presumption, like, but because I had watched a couple of people like give their opinions on what it was, is presumably it's because it's hollow.
Fake, exactly. That's what I thought. I'm like, man, is that a fake stone? But finally, they do put that back because if you, as I said, Kevin said it was clinging to him, so it kind of became a burden, so much of a burden that it was used to almost murder Kevin.
Mm-hmm. Which is ultimately why presumably he survived.
I thought he was dead. Thought he was dead.
Would you ever like to know why is everyone in Korea named after a car transmission setting, i.e. Part 1, low, high, etc.?
I've never... okay.
I'm
low, high. What do you do? Come on, low and high. Who fucking uses that setting anymore? What are we driving, race cars?
I'm getting flashbacks to that, like with the viral YouTube clip of the news anchor where somebody fucking pranked them on the teleprompter, and it was a plane accident where it's Captain We Too Low, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
It's I feel like everybody has seen that at this point, but it's fucking crazy that nobody realized that there was something up with those names.
Nah, they're fucking robots. So they don't care. But yeah, it was a definite weird. It was a weird symbolism. I've had a few shots tonight in the movie. It was a weird symbolism in the movie, but it definitely was an important symbolism. And I didn't realize how important it was, and I didn't look it up until Kevin got hit with it. Not once, but twice.
Right.
So that is when I kind of was like, I got to see what this stone is about. And I did. It was not bringing the family luck, which is why they put it back to the stream. They returned it back to where it would be. So let someone else have this fucking horrible fucking stone.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was the thing, was that became a matter of there was a question of whether or not the end of the movie actually happened, or if it was kind of a fantasy situation. Mm-hmm. And when he puts this stone into the water, it doesn't float. So the theory is potentially that was just pure fantasy, and it's not going to end up playing out like how the prophecy was foretold, as it were. But he had all these elaborate plans on how he was going to kind of fix everybody's life and get the situation back on track best he possibly could.
Yeah. Again, the symbolism, the metaphors in this movie, and you know, you don't. There's always foreshadowing in movies that you don't pick up on until later in the movie. There was so much of it in this movie that just kind of brought you to the end of it, and you were like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I get it. Now I get it. So I don't know. I just thought it was a definite weird thing. And the other thing I found very weird in the movie, and this is just something I found weird, is the smell thing.
Because the sun, almost immediately, once they start getting more and more of the family in there, picks up on it
Mhm.
that they all smell the same, and he like smells the pour on them. He starts freaking out.
That was the first kinda crack in their armor. The first crack in the plan was the kid. They all smell the same. And he was like, "Oh, shit." They all looked at each other like, "Oh, shit. What's gonna happen here?" And it was kind of a moment of pure dread for everyone in the room. And they even went back and talked about it. But, you know, he d but the father, Mr. Park,
Mm,
has a weird obsession with 2 things. You mentioned one of them already. Crossing the line was one of them. He was very, very about people crossing the line, whatever line that is that he has. Um, and he mentioned it many times in the movie, but mainly he mentioned it when the family was stuck under the giant coffee table
mm,
while Mr. and Mrs. Kim were getting freaky.
that's right.
and but he mentioned it and they were talking about the scent of Mr. Kim. And he said it smelled like an old radish or a rag that's been boiled. And he's listening to all this, and it's almost like he's dehumanizing him by saying this. And that would be pretty hurtful. I mean, he's even smelling his shirt under the thing and everything, under the coffee table and everything. And it was really just it's just very weird. Again, you have and the main line that he said that caught me was people that ride the subway just have a smell or something like it was very close to that.
Yeah.
That was very telling. And obviously it not only hurt Mr. Kim, but it became the reason that he snapped at the end of the movie and
Mm,
killed Mr. Park. So,
yeah.
I mean, it was just a very again, you didn't think that was gonna be such a big part of the movie until it became the big part of the movie, and you were like, "What the fuck just happened?" Okay.
Well, yeah, because he's even just like like even as everything is going down, everything's going wrong at the party. He's like trying to get everything back together, and he ends up just taking a whiff and just being disgusted by the smell that's in the air. Like even while all this bad shit is happening, just the poor
Yeah, when
people
he's
smell is still pissing him off in spite of everything else.
yeah, I
Just
mean,
end
he
up
not only he recoiled, he held his nose, and this was for the guy that was down in the basement, probably hadn't showered in a year,
no, for sure.
but I mean, it was just scent was such a different weird thing, and you wouldn't expect that to be something so important in the movie. Someone talking about the way someone smells, but it became one of the most important things in the movie by the end of the movie.
And like that's what you're talking about, the being able to go back and watch it, the replay value that it provides, because like I had noticed until I was watching it again last night was just when they're setting up for the party, like everything has already gone wrong
Mhm.
for the Kim family. And like they're going to pick up like all the wine and cheeses and all this kind of shit. And like the mom's like, oh no, it's actually a blessing because instead of going camping, we get to have this big elaborate garden party. Well, the fucking, of course, the rain is what ends up destroying the Kim's family home. So
Right.
like the dad is like it was just cool to like watch him like behind her while she's getting ready for the party, like so carefree, and like you could just see him slowly starting to lose his shit, and like it
Mhm.
just starts to plant the seed of this like he just gets closer and closer to snapping as like the next 10-20 minutes go on.
Yeah, and what I thought was cool about the whole thing about the scent was that was the one thing that they couldn't cover or falsify or forge or fake. They had forged documents for each other. They had forged made up stories for each other.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that they couldn't cover was the semi-basement scent that, you know, they were talking about, and they even said that in the movie. The only way to get rid of the semi-basement smell is to move,
Well,
leave
they,
here.
they, they theoretically they were trying because they're like, oh, well, I'll just use different soap, we'll use different laundry detergent, and all this shit. Which I guess you could
Mhm.
also look at as being somewhat symbolic of just like you ultimately can't hide who you are no matter what you try to do.
Right. Right. But I mean but and the line about the subway, and I actually looked it up while I was talking there. People who ride the subway have a special smell. That was exactly what he said. And it is pretty significant in the movie, just because again, it's almost like those are the people that they despise, those subway riders, those low class stinky people. Ew. I mean, it'd be like, it's almost like a homeless person here. Literally, if this movie were made in America, it would be a homeless guy starts, conning a rich family
Mhm.
with his, that's about what it would be. So I don't know. There was so much about this movie that was so detailed, and love the way it was put together, man. Um, that's pretty much all like the stuff I took notes on. It was hard to take notes for this movie, not because it was in another language, not because I had to read it, because I was fucking dead focused on the movie. It was such a good story from start to finish. Such a good story. I didn't even bother taking notes, but if I guess we can get into the actors and we'll just kind of talk about them in the movie as we go through.
Okay, I will say real quick. The one thing, there's actually two kind of takeaways while we're just talking about overall like thoughts and things of that nature. Is like the one thing it was like kind of a bummer that like the family, the basement people,
Mhm.
as we should call them, the ones that were living, the guy was living in the little like hideaway
My
under the house,
housekeeper and her
essentially
husband. Right, right, right.
the bomb shelter. Yeah, the housekeeper's husband and the Kim family. Like they totally, if you think about it, they totally could have worked together the entire time. Like everybody could have benefited because
Yeah.
like the housekeeper, the original housekeeper, wasn't trying to turn that in. There was no kind of indicator that she was going to, because she was like, "Hey, we could work together on this shit." And then the family ends up exposing themselves because they fall down the stairs, and then that's when everything kind of takes a turn.
Yeah.
But like she would have been willing to work with them, I believe. So like ultimately they could have worked together and they ended up being at each other's throats. And like ultimately the Park family, not much, like maybe some psychological drama, but like ultimately not much happens to them in the grand
No.
scheme of things. It's just more so that like the poorer people in the movie end up basically at each other's throats, pretty much literally in most regards, because like they're literally going after each other. So they end up taking each other out and then rich people stay unaffected. So it's like that's typically what ends up happening, unfortunately, even in the real world. So it is what it
Yeah.
is. But
Yeah.
the other the other real kind of bummer thing was like Kevin was talking about he was wanting to go to college and that, okay, they're forging the documents at the moment, but it's going to be authentic in due time.
Mhm.
And like the real bummer of like in the movie as a whole, like one of the saddest parts I think is they go through the trouble of like forging the documents and all this shit. And he's showing the Mrs. Park
Mhm.
and she doesn't even bother looking at the document really. She's just like, all right, I trust you because of a recommendation. So like
Right.
provided it was actually real and she had no reason to believe it wasn't real. So I don't care. I don't care about what you've actually accomplished. It's who you know. It's like, wow, fuck.
Well,
Like you really
that's
can't move on. I mean, that's not untrue, but it's just like a real bummer.
no, unfair. It's not untrue, and that's exactly how people of that class would act. And to me, the true bummer in the movie is they went through this whole thing of showing the relationship with Kevin and the younger daughter of the Parks, and it just went to shit. It was just gone. I mean, she even
Yeah.
carried him out of the fucking murder scene to wherever she did.
Yeah. Because I mean,
So,
theoretically, if he would have just it would have stayed him,
mhm,
like theoretically, the daughter loved him so much that like maybe that would have changed when she went off to college. But like theoretically, that was his in. Like he could have just stayed with her, and like nobody else needed to get involved. The rest of the family didn't need to get involved. That was the theoretical gravy train right there. But shit
Yeah,
went south real quick.
it did. As soon as he started getting his family involved, I mean, this ended up being, it's funny when you go to IMDb and you look at the genres of this movie. I mean, besides just the Korean genre, dark comedy, psychological drama, psychological thriller, tragedy, drama, thriller. There's all of it in this movie. There is all of it in this fucking movie. It is exactly that. There is some comedy. I may pick up on it the next time I watch because I was reading the movie, but
Well, the
the
part I forgot
drama,
about
the
that kind of
thrills. What was that? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say the part that I'd forgotten about that kind of kills me because it's just like I wanted to watch it again because of just how dark and crazy and how much shit got off the rails. But like the part that I had completely forgotten about that killed me when I was watching it again was like Jessica gets there, they open the door to the son's room, to Song, and he has a fucking arrow in his ass. And I was just like, well, I completely forgot about that part. He's got a fucking arrow sticking out of his ass because like he has some weird
Yeah.
Indian thing going on. He was a little bit
Yeah.
out there.
And that was another thing they were mentioning, the Cub Scouts. I
Mm-hmm.
got to admit, I did not know the Cub Scouts were something in Korea. I figured they would have their version of it, but it it sounds like they're the actual same kind of thing that we have here. That's kind of fucking cool. I don't know why that surprised me. It shouldn't, because the Scouts are kind of a set thing, but I live here in the bubble of the United States, so I don't know what's going on in other countries. So I thought that was cool that they mentioned that. I kind of like the whole Indian thing that they were doing, the TP outside and everything. Again, it all brought you to this whole thing. I mean, what, a kid wanting to sleep outside in a teepee? No big deal. Then they make a party out of it. No big deal. Then murders start happening at the party. What the fuck?
Right.
I mean, I was I was blown away, man. I really was. I was blown away at how good this movie is. But you want go ahead. Read the ancient.
True North would like to know, would Calgon's ancient Chinese secret laundry soap have gotten rid of the smell? No fucking way you could have shown that commercial now. That's for true. Also, real quick, I looked. I just did sort of a cursory look because I had wondered too, but I forgot to look because I was distracted by just watching the movie because I thought that the Boy Scouts was like a uniquely American thing too. And just a cursory search, it's the Korea Scout Association, which apparently was founded in 1922 while they were still under Japanese rule. So apparently they do have their scouts. I don't know if they necessarily call them Boy Scouts per se. That was just more of a translation thing, but they do have their version of the Scouts.
Well, they do have I do know this. One of the companies I worked at, Wow Packing, they were all Koreans. And I do
Okay.
know that they are mandatory, have to do military service. I think it's a year and a half. I think it's a 1 year, a year and a half of mandatory military service they have to do. So I guess that's their version of the fucking Scouts. But I know Koreans do have to do a mandatory military service. I think it's a year and a half. Are you looking that up?
Quick search at the moment is saying 18 to 24 months, depending
Okay.
on the branch.
Yeah, a year and a half would be 18
And
months.
women can serve, but are not forced to serve. So it's kind of just their choice.
Oh, it used to be okay, because when I worked there, they were saying it used to be mandatory.
And I mean, that's just, I mean, it's according to Wikipedia. So, I mean, take it with a grain
Oh
of
no,
salt.
they could have laxed on it since they have lived there. I mean, these guys were all pretty much gray-haired older guys and girls that worked at that company, so it may have definitely changed. But I or maybe they may put that it's voluntary, but maybe it really is mandatory.
Mhm.
You know what I mean, Smark.
I mean, it's a much different situation, but like typically in the NFL, they have things called OTAs, which are optional team activities, but it's optional team activity. Like
Mm,
you don't have to show up, but if I can put you behind the eight ball if you don't.
yeah. Yeah, it's like when your wife tells you, you wanna go somewhere and she goes, "Oh, yeah, it's fine. Do whatever you want." And
Mhm.
you do, you should know that's a fucking sign not to do what you want.
Right, right.
Little little, I mean, I usually do anyway because 'cause I'm an asshole, but okay. But my wife just deals with it. She loves me, and I love her back. So whatever.
There you have it.
But anyway, back to the actors, I guess we can go. Um, because I definitely wanna do a little bit of talking about the actors in this movie, just on how they were in this movie. So, let it rip, brother.
All right, let's. It's funny is that I did, I was doing tits for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. And I feel like I'm about to get more accidentally racist attempting to say these names than the intentional racist that I got while doing the sports show. So here we go. We'll give it our best shot anyway. Song
First of all,
Kang Ho was key tech. Yes?
okay, you're on IMDb. You're going through that. You're going doing that list.
Yeah, kind of just doing it in order. But basically, this guy, Song Kang Ho, he's in like
Perfect.
all of the
Perfect.
director's movies. Basically, he's like his guy. He's like sort of the Samuel L. Jackson
Uh
to his Quentin Tarantino, as it were. He's in Snowpiercer,
huh.
Memories. He's in Snowpiercer, Memories of a Murder. He's in like all the ones that he's done. So he's like that's his guy basically, and he's the dad. He's
Mhm.
Mr. Kim. He's the dad of the poor family, not the rich family.
Cool.
Let's see, and then we have Lee Soon Kyun, who is Don Eek, I believe that's Mr. Park. That's like the patriarch of the rich family.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes, he is.
Brother, this one's gonna be a hard one. We got Cho Young Jong, who is Mrs. Park, who the
Beautiful.
simple lady and or
Beautiful woman.
drug addict. We're not quite sure. Oh yeah, no, not bad at all.
I
Uh,
I never really answered that. I apologize. Let's stick with her for 1 second. I never really answered that. I don't know, and I did catch the fact that she was passed out in the backyard.
mhm.
I guess
I assumed it was alcohol. I assumed she was just doing some day drinking and fucking blacked out.
that's what I figured because even later in the show, in the movie, she was talking to her friend and she'll like, "We'll do some day drinking, yay!" I'm like, "Oh
Mhm.
shit!"
Yeah.
So it could have been some day drinking, which, if listen, when I was growing up in the 80s, and we would be when I was doing the horse shows with a lot of the people had a lot of money. They were very rich people. I mean, I've said before. I mean, John Cougar Mellencamp's daughter was riding in horses with us. The daughter of the owner of Reynolds Cigarettes was riding horses with us. There were very rich people there um, at that place. So I've known very rich people, and every one of those ladies drank jugs of wine, not those little jugs, giant jugs. Dude, we were up at 6, 4 in the morning sometimes to go to those shows. And by 9 a.m., they were drinking wine.
Mhm.
They were drinking wine. All of them. And they all had their giant jugs, and they'd all go pour one from this one and one from that one and one from this one. And if they ran out, someone would go get more. It was no big deal. Oh my God. Rich people drink, dude.
Of course.
That's
Yes.
my whole point to this. Rich people day drink, and they drink wine, and they think that they're not hurting anyone because, it's the Jesus juice. And okay, it's the juice of the Jesus. He'd want us to be drinking it at 9 a.m. I'm telling you right now, it goes good with eggs.
Mhm.
Yes,
It's,
it
and
does.
That is the most wild shit to me. Is it's like where you draw the line in terms of like what does and doesn't quantify like being an alcoholic, because it's like motherfuckers will get together at like Sunday morning and drink at bottomless mimosas, but then if you drink like vodka at like 7 p.m. on a Tuesday, it's beyond the pale somehow. I don't get it.
A lot of hypocrites out there. Let's just put it that
For
way. A lot of
sure.
them. A lot of I hate to say this, but I have known many very hypocritical religious people. I've known people that could sit there and quote the Bible to you, and that same night will go cheat on their wife.
Mm. Well, that I mean that is a fucking that is a Pandora's box. That's an entirely different can of
I,
worms there. Just
I'm
like
just
what you
saying
do and don't
that
decide to interpret, and then some of the things that are just like so old that they're just not applicable. Like you're not
I'm
allowed to like sell your daughter for goats anymore or whatever the fuck. Like some of that shit gets crazy. But then
very
also conversely, to be fair, there's also I've seen quite a few atheists that like just make it go out of their way to fuck with Christians who aren't even doing anything. Chuck Norris says I also saw ladies with giant jugs at the horse shows, but no one is riding in a saddle at this horse show. Well, that's
that's
an
called
entirely different horse show.
that's a donkey show. Totally different animal. The ears are way bigger. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean,
Um,
that just makes you a worldly person if you've been to those kind of gatherings and
and what
events.
the fuck were you doing in Tijuana? Jesus Christ, dude. What were you doing there? But
And spring break is different for everybody.
but yeah, I would assume, as you just said, the wife was probably drinking during the day, since she had mentioned drinking during the day. That's how most of these uh, rich people do. They do that. They drink during the day because, believe it or not, those are some of the most depressed women in the world, because their husbands are out working, you know, 18-hour days and pay no attention to them, which is why a lot of these relationships end up in divorce. So
Well,
there you go.
not the mother. Uh, so it's not necessarily applicable to what you were saying, but sort of kind of in that same vein of things. The daughter, Dehai, and Kevin, like they're at the party, and Kevin's like tripping out, like whether or not he actually belongs there, and like
Right.
she's so sick of everybody like caring about the brother more than her, and like having to go to these dumb parties that she couldn't give a fuck less. Like she's just so tired. Like he's trying to fit in, she's doesn't want to fit in, doesn't care. So it's like that kind of dynamic, like you mentioned, of just being so like neglected and ignored that you don't care about your status anymore either.
Yeah, and I'm glad you just reminded me of that, because there was one part in the movie that actually kind of didn't. I'm not gonna say it didn't fit, but it was kind of weird. Where right when Kevin started, and he brought in his sister Jessica,
Mm.
and he was talking to the younger daughter of Mr. Parks, the young Parks girl.
Yeah.
Um, and she starts like saying like all this stuff her brother's doing is all fake, and he's faking this and he's faking that. I thought that was a pretty odd part in the movie,
Mhm.
but because that really never got exposed. It never got exposed that he was faking anything. So that didn't get exposed. But I I think you just explained it.
Well, I
It
mean, if
did.
you think about it, um,
Yeah, good.
like they bend over backwards for Daesung the son, right?
Hmm.
So like she fucking calls him like when they're on the road, like, hey, make this fancy meal for us. He doesn't want it, so the mother eats it, doesn't offer it to the daughter. She complains about that. They have this fucking super elaborate birthday party planned. Like they don't really do anything for the daughter per se. And it's just everything's about the son. She's just like kind of like has the older child syndrome situation where she's just like not getting any of the attention, feels like they don't care about
That
her, so on and so forth.
think you just explained that part to me. I didn't understand why it was in the movie until you just said that. I totally understand why it's in there now. It later in the movie it became more evident. They do everything for him. They're sitting there on walkie talkies. The dad is paying. Really, the dad doesn't talk about the daughter very much.
Like they buy the walkie talkies for him. They buy like the little drone thing or whatever it is for him. Like they bought all this shit for him. Didn't buy anything for her in the movie, as
No,
far as I can remember.
no. The dad came walking in with Mr. Kim came walking in with tons of toys, all for the son.
Mhm.
Wow. See, this is why I'm glad this is why I'm glad we're here.
Right
I'm
on,
glad we're
man.
here, man. Okay. You're welcome to continue with the actors, but I just realized that I hadn't answered that question, and I wanted to get that out of the way. Thanks, Mark.
No, we're good. We got Choi Woo Suk, who that is Kevin. That is the son. That is the Kim's. I'm pretty sure yeah, I'm trying to keep both of the
You
families
got it.
straight. So
You got it.
got like a fucking cork board over here with all these names. We got Park Sudam, who is uh, Jessica. That's the son of the Kim family, or not the son, the daughter of the Kim family, rather. We were talking about her. She's like kind of the son's art therapy teacher. And she it's funny because there's a part in the movie where like basically she starts talking to the mom about how like noticing certain trauma, noticing that there might be a little bit of like some schizophrenia potential, like how she'll
Mm.
work with them. But of course, we're going more than just like art lessons, so this is going to cost more money. And then of course, it turns out she admits that she just sort of Googled art therapy and just made up some bullshit.
It was
So that
pretty
was fun.
slick, but they also I love how they kind of explain her being so slick by explaining her art lessons during the drunken family meeting they had at the Parks house before the housekeeper fucked it all up.
It's kind
That
of
was a
funny
great
because
scene.
like they paint Kevin. Because Kevin's supposed to be like the smart one. Kevin's like the one that's like applying himself or whatever and doing the best he
Mhm.
can. Like he wants to go to college. I kind of got the vibe that she was kind of the smarter of the people in the family because like she's able to execute all these fucking schemes. Like she's the one working the phone when they call about like this elite
Yeah.
professional service care industry thing that the on the business card later on in the movie. Like she's the one that's sort of she's the brains behind all these fucking harebrained schemes. They presumably.
Yeah, speaking of the business card, here's one thing I loved about the business card. They did this whole thing of saying how the daughter's good with Photoshop, and they showed her making the fake documents for Kevin. And then when they got to the business card, they didn't like you knew the daughter made it. You knew it was in your brain, but they didn't show her making it. You know why? They didn't fucking have to. And I am actually happier that they didn't because that would have been an unnecessary scene because we all knew where he got the business card from, how he got it, who made it. Very small little detail in the movie, but a very I don't know if it's important, but it's a very, very, very just minute detail that I picked up, and I didn't even think about mentioning it until you just said that. But that business card, the little scene was great. I loved it. So many little scenes in this movie that were just 2 or 3 minutes were just very telling as you go through it.
Indeed.
So, yep, roll it.
All right, we got Lee Jung Un, who that's the housekeeper. I think
Mhm.
she did a really good job. She was really good at being like disheveled and like when shit was going down, she was really good at fucking the whole scene of like when they fucking find out the ruse of the family and they're like using it against them. They're just fucking just basically messing with them for a solid 5 minutes. She did really good at just fucking with them. That was a
No,
good
I thought
time.
the scene
Nick,
where she was massaging her husband and doing her Kim Jong Un impression. I thought that was the best scene in the fucking movie. I was like, this is where the comedy is coming in, obviously.
Yeah, that was at the same time because like they figured out the ruse and they're trying to like basically just blackmailing them. They're like, "We'll fuck up your life just whenever we feel like it. You'll press the button and
Yeah.
it'll be
Yeah,
for you."
the husband saying this is like a North Korea missile in our hands. All we have to do is hit send and they're fucked. Ah, good stuff, man. Great, great stuff in this movie. I was so happy to watch this movie.
All right, and then we have Jang Hee Jin, which is the mom of the family, the mom of the Kim family. And we'll go to the children. We
Yeah.
have Jung Ji So. That's Daehai. That's the older daughter, the one that feels
Mhm.
neglected. We got Jung Hyun Jin, I believe. It's this song that's the child, quote unquote, prodigy. What was
Mm.
interesting about him is like it's kind of up in the air as to whether or not, because they plant the seeds that he might be fake again. He might just be like kind of a little bit off,
Mhm.
because like there's a part in the movie where like they're explaining like why he is the way he is theoretically, and but like he's eating his birthday cake on the floor in the flashback scene. So it's like
Yeah.
there's already kind of something off about you. Like, okay, you eating fucking birthday, like sneaking down the stairs or whatever to get birthday cake if you're like a small child. That's not unquestionable. Like that's not unfathomable. But if you're like eating the fucking cake off the floor, that implies that there's something up. But conversely, he like we pointed
Mm.
out, he was the only person or the first person to notice that there was something off with that family, or that there was something up. They all smelled alike. So it's like he like kind of sniffed out the bullshit pretty quick. So like maybe there
Oh.
was something to the fact that he was potentially smarter than he was letting on. Maybe he might have actually been a prodigy.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. That was a great little part of the movie there, man. But you know what? It's actually not uncommon. I've gone in my kitchen and there's been food on the floor. My kids, I've seen it when kids are that small.
Okay, well
They'll
I can say that
they'll lit-
I
they'll
never
literally
did.
just grab it and sit. They don't care where they are. They got what they wanted.
Oh, and real quick, I did leave him off, but he was important to the movie. Park Myung Hoon. That's the guy that was living in the basement, the
Okay.
housekeeper's
Yeah.
husband. And then he
Yep.
played a pivotal role. But yeah, I just want to make sure we got all the we got the both families and the housekeeper and husband taken care of. So I think, like you said, that's pretty much the important people, or the people that played pivotal roles.
Yeah, and now the driver was next, and I want to mention something because I have to tell you, I'm watching this movie. We're going through, and Jessica is
Mm,
being driven home by the guy, the driver. And I got to admit, I had no clue. I'm like, why is she taking her panties off in the car?
mm,
What is going on? And that is that's when you figured out that they are conning this family
right,
completely. I mean, bringing it didn't even dawn on me when he brought his sister, and I thought he was just trying to get his sister a job to help his family.
right.
But then when I saw that, I'm like, I see what's going on. This is slick as fuck. And it was.
Right. Yeah, no, I thought like the first time I watched it, like I figured something was up, something sinister was going on, but I thought she was like going to attempt to seduce him and then use that as leverage or something like that to like, I don't know,
That's what
further
I
the
thought.
status within the family or whatever. But that no, they ended up taking a sharp right from there.
Well, yeah, because he kind of liked her. If you listen to what he was saying, he was sort of into her.
Potentially, yeah, but he wasn't really trying to do any like he would have potentially been down to do stuff, but he wasn't like straight up. He was still being professional. He's like, all right, you want me to drop you off at the train station or whatever? I'll do that. But you know,
Yeah, well, he wanted to take her home, but
right.
she couldn't show where she lived because they're trying to be at least middle class
Yeah.
minimum, but and again, this movie has a lot to do with the class, again, high class, low class, what you're viewed as. um I've never really thought of where I am on that standing. I'm probably low class. But
Same,
you
same.
know, I'm a check to check guy. I mean, I got 3 kids and that's kind of how I live. There's nothing I can do about it. I mean, but I would this and another thing that was also big in this movie, if you didn't catch it, Smark, planning.
Hmm.
They always wanted a plan. There's a plan for this, plan for that. Planned so good they were literally writing scripts
Hmm.
and rehearsing how to do this stuff. And then at the end, after after their, semi basement was flooded with shit, literally, they're in the gym. The whole family's sleeping there except the mom, and the dad is going, the best plan is to have no plan. Every plan turns to shit. basically, is what he was saying. I'm paraphrasing here, folks. And he's right. Kind of what I tell my wife. My wife's like, I'm a planner. I'm like, yeah, your plans never fucking work. Never. Never. So I hate planning with my wife. But that is another big thing in this movie is planning. Because
Right.
they're always wanting to have a plan, and by the end of the movie, there's no plan. There is no plan. And they're just riding, they're just going by the fucking seat of their pants. So, but the and I the real twist at the end after the father disappears, I loved. Because you're sitting there watching this movie and you're like, there can't be any other twists that come from this movie. And right when you think there's no other twists, you're like, oh my God, where has the father disappeared to? Where could he have gone? Back in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the hidden basement that no one knew about. Just unbelievable. He ended up right back, right back to the house where everything had gone to shit for him. But I don't know, man. This movie was just way above my, I guess, above my expectations.
Oh, for sure. Like I was a little bit worried because like just the idea of like the subtitles of it all, because like some people like subtitles, some people don't. Like some people don't care. But then it's like, right, if we're gonna do subtitles, this shit's gotta be really good. And I was like, I remember like it was just I gotta be honest, it was the second time I watched it, but the first time I was absolutely fucking blown away. Like it was the first time I've ever watched a movie and been like, yeah, this is one of the best movies I've seen. Like you
Yeah.
start you watch it, then you think about it for a couple days afterwards. And I think that's the best case scenario with anything, any sort of
Yeah.
media that you consume, is that it actually like lingers in your brain. Think about it and it resonates for a while. But yeah, I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
I did too, man. I thought this was an unbelievable movie. And I mean, it's just, again, it's one you,
Speaking of Cheese Turner says, speaking of having a plan, if Cheese had some plan B, he'd have less kids potentially.
potential. You never know. You never know. Might not work. But I mean, you're right, man. This is really a great movie. Deserved any award it got. It deserved. It was definitely an incredibly well made movie. The production, like I said, the production of the movie, the editing of the movie was incredible. It really was just a masterclass of what a movie should be. So many things got foreshadowed, so many things got answered, so many things happened in this. This should have been a clusterfuck of a movie, but really it's a very oh my God, how do I want to say this? It's a very organized movie when you're done with it. Because you're thinking you're going to get a clusterfuck of a movie once it starts going, and this movie in America would be a clusterfuck.
Right.
And you'd probably have Sean fucking William Scott in there somewhere.
I'm actually glad that you pointed that out because, like, one of the, and I totally agree with it. Like, one of the reviews that I was watching about it had mentioned that, like, if it were to be an American movie, like, they would have purposely went out of their way to sort of draw the line of, to go back to the line thing, this party's evil, this party's the good guys. These are the evil ones, these are the good guys. Like, that's what's good about this movie, is that like everybody sort of has moments where they're the bad guy, but there's also like a logical reason as to like why and how they feel that way. Like nobody's just blatantly evil. It's sort of, there's some good there, there's some bad there.
Well, if this movie was made in the US, it probably would have been a liberal family going to work for a conservative rich family.
Mhm.
And they're the fact that they voted for Trump comes out.
Ooh.
Oh God, crazy movie. I don't know, but
Which that was also pretty good. That I enjoyed the fact that it was just like it was a movie about like complex issues, but it was more of a societal thing, like a class system, and not more of just like, hey, do you want to spend 2.5 hours watching a movie that tells you racism is bad, which you should already know before you watch the fucking movie? Like,
yeah,
that's my problem with a lot of the movies that are like just Oscar baity that are out. even at the moment, where it's just like, I didn't need this movie to tell me that racism is bad because I'm not a terrible human being. I sort of understood that before it hit play. Like you could have gone anywhere else with this, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory, but as we've said a few times, movie is definitely about class and classism, and you got this, like I said, you got the lower class family who stumbles upon this job because of this guy Min who's going to study abroad,
Mm.
and he does all this, and they're 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 pretending to be, again, I never thought they were trying to pretend to be this high class. I think they were trying to be middle class is what they were trying to be. But again, I think that's again where the smell part comes in. I just think that is such a weird little part of the movie that became such an important part of the movie that I, I'll be honest. If we didn't do this show, I probably wouldn't even think about this. But that is such a part of the movie that is so important because of the just. I mean, again, the smell seems like it would be something very small, but in the end, it turns out to be what killed the father, the Park's father.
Right.
So, something that small in most movies wouldn't go anywhere, but it really did. And, it you just don't think that something like that would have to do with a movie, something as simple as just saying someone smells. But you could tell how much it stung when he heard it because, he's smelling his shirt under the table, is trying to figure out what's going on. And it's just an incredible part of the movie. And like I said, man, I don't know if I would have watched this movie if you didn't pick it, but I am incredibly happy you picked it. Don't be afraid to do something like this again for a subtitled movie. I can handle it.
It's all good. I appreciate it. But I kind of, maybe this is a reach, but like what I was thinking about while I was watching it was like, there's no like actual straight up gangster elements, but I do know that you like the gangster movies, the crime movies, and it does like some of the storytelling a little bit has that structure of
Mhm.
like you start at the bottom, you move up, you get a little too ambitious, and you end up paying for it.
Right. Yeah. This movie kind of reminded me of a John Travolta movie called uh Crim- wait a minute. Criminal Activities. Wasn't a very popular movie. Was not a very popular movie of his, but they kidnap a guy and they don't know what they're really a part of. They don't know that one of their crew is in on it, and it's the whole thing. And it kind of reminded me of that, but that movie ended up being a clusterfuck that turned out to be a very good movie. So it kind of reminded me a little bit of that movie. If we need to talk about that movie one night, you want to watch a damn good. It's a great John Travolta movie with a horrible John Travolta hairpiece.
Oh,
Um, there's two movies where he has a horrible hairpiece. This one, that one, and I Am Wrath.
okay.
If you ever watch I Am Wrath, horrible. I think it's the same hairpiece. I think it's the same one. It's
I like
awful.
the idea. I like the idea that theoretically that like John Travolta just spent like an insane amount of money on this like quote unquote realistic looking hairpiece, and he's like, well, I better get damn sure get my money's worth. This is going in two different movies. And
It didn't. It didn't. It was horrible in both movies, but the movies themselves are pretty good. But Criminal Activities, I believe that's the name of it, is a good comedy, drama, action, uh, crime comedy. It's kind of got the same sort of feel to it. Um, and this movie reminded me of it a little bit, just a little bit. Yeah, I will say that. But Parasite, man, I can't believe I've never, like I said, I had heard about it once it won the awards. I don't know if it ever clicked to me that the movie was in Korean,
Mhm.
but it doesn't matter. This movie in fucking any language would have been amazing. But the fact that this movie was, made where it was made, and the fact that it has such culture of the Koreans tied in with with the scholar stones and a few other things that they're doing in this movie, just makes it a really, really well made, well put together film that, if you don't mind sitting there for 2 hours and 12 minutes reading a movie, then do it, because trust me, it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be worth it. I didn't see myself sitting down and doing this, and then as I'm watching this movie, I was blown away by how good it was.
Right.
Of course, I'm also in the middle of watching the 3 Bad News Bears movies, so that might have also had something to do with it. But anyway, uh,
That is a wild tonal shift.
well, I don't know what made me watch it, but the other day I wanted to watch the bad I wanted to watch a movie, and I pulled up 80s movies, and there was the Bad News Bears, and I'm like, "You know what? This actually isn't an 80s movie. Actually, those movies came out in 75, 76, and 77. The 3 movies came out 1 year of each other, but I haven't seen them in a long time, and I'm only on the 2nd one, so I still have the 3rd one to watch. But, I mean, the guy I don't know if you've ever seen those, but the young kid is Jackie Earl Haley. You know who that is?
No.
Alright. Actually, holy shit, he's in that movie I'm talking about, Criminal Activities. He's in that movie. He's in that fucking movie. He's one of the main characters. Um, I don't know why, but that just clicked to me. But anyway, um, I don't know, Smart. I mean, I know this is a 2-hour movie, and we're only an hour and 20 in, but anything else on this? Really, what I wanted to do was dig into what little parts of this movie were part of Korean culture,
Right.
because most of the parts I didn't understand were part of Korean culture. So I decided to come look them up and share them,
There you go.
because I figure if I'm curious about something, most people are too. Uh,
Well, we were both curious about the scout thing. I remember that. Are you?
yes.
Oops.
No.
Okay.
We're both clicking this at the same time. Um, are we reviewing the Melania Trump doc? No. No. I got to be honest. I'm not going to watch that.
Okay, I will say real quick. I had like 3 different movies that like I was kicking on the potential of what I was talking about. One of which, and potentially if we probably end up talking about it at some point, so I don't want to spoil too much about it. But one of them is Eddington. And
Mhm.
the thing about Eddington is basically it's shot during COVID, and it talks about like it's a fictional town with like fictional people, but it basically like kind of it talks about how everybody sort of experienced COVID, dealt with COVID, and how like a small town deals with big tragedies and like disturbances that like big news events. And I was like, you know what,
Mhm.
maybe that's not so good for this week.
Mm,
maybe discussing news controversies is probably something to avoid at the current.
yeah, a lot going on right now. I'll just say I'm glad I am.
That was a really weird time for you to cut out, or for me to cut out. I'm not entirely sure. But I will say that, yeah, I had no idea that the documentary was even a thing. So I'm not sure what streaming service that's on. So if you could give me a heads up, I will be sure to give it multiple watches. Wink, 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 wink. I was curious as to what he was going to say, and then he didn't say anything. So there you go. Shit. Oh, I know what I can do while he's gone. Just a second. Uh, Somewhere around here. This will be worth it. Give me time. You got to believe in me. You got to believe in me. Here we go. We're going to bring up a video. Oh, that was from last week. I'm going to fix that. Delete. Upload video. Trust me, the payoff will be worth it. You just got to believe. Son of a bitch. And of course, it's going to take forever and a half for it to actually load. Here we go. Here it is. We're almost there. We're almost there. We are on the precipice. Currently uploading, analyzing. We are almost there. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. This has to be absolutely captivating for everybody that's listening.
It's an avalanche! Snow filled the air, buries everything. Time to be scared. You better be aware. It's a nightmare. You better run away if you just can't stay. If you wanna save the day. It's an avalanche! It's shining white. It's not like an angel, more like a devil. Not small like a pebble, more like a mountain that's swung to hold it very cold. It's an avalanche.
Yay! That's how we kill time in boxes in here. I will say that it is True North says Wild Box really did get taken out by ice this week. It is ironic that he was in the middle of talking about that and then he disappeared. Like I feel like if that were to have happened to anybody, that would have likely have been what happened to me and not to him. But be that as it may, that's what happened. Box, are you going to come back or should I just go ahead and wrap this shit on up? Long pause, long pause, long pause. Dead air, dead air. We love it. We love it. I'm going to go ahead and take that as a sign to get the hell out of here. If you want to hear me ramble for more time, Totally Inappropriate Team Sports, aka Tits, we are doing a Super Bowl watch along. I'll be there. We will be there. Probably Cheese will be there. I don't know about Matt, but if you want to go hang out with us, we'll be talking about the Super Bowl, watching the Super Bowl, making fun of shitty commercials, probably making fun of Bad Bunny. It'll be good times for everybody. Go ahead and check us out. Fuck with us there. We love you. I am out. Goodbye. Oh no, he's back.
Hey, my internet went out. I apologize for that. It's fuck you, Elon. Starlink bullshit.
Like True North says, this clip will be paid 10 times on Super Bowl Sunday. That's right, the Tits Totally Inappropriate Team Sports. You will definitely see the return, the triumphant return, as you've seen tonight of the Avalanche kid. That's what happens when you have to fill dead air. It's time for Avalanche to come back up.
What's funny is I actually just recorded a ending just in case we didn't have one. So I've got one too, just in case. But hopefully this goes through. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Like a DVD.
That was my internet. I apologize, everybody. No, I didn't get taken out by ice this week. You know why? Because I don't go out.
I try my best not to go out either.
I'm too much of a homebody to get taken out by ice. So I don't know. But anyway, folks, I know Smark just gave his little outro. I just want to say thanks to everybody, and I want to thank Smart for choosing this movie. It was an incredible pick that I never would have watched without him. So I'm glad I got to watch this movie. And I will we'll see y'all next week, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, right back here, Hollywood Hangout. Find us. And folks, once again, I double checked. We are on everywhere that you probably find podcasts: iHeartRadio, Amazon podcast, Apple podcast. We're everywhere. So be taking a look. And once again, before we get out of here, I want to thank y'all for the Spotify listens. It's been uplifting to me to see some of the listens on Spotify. Not so much YouTube, dicks, but Spotify. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone listening. And you know what? One other person who I want to mention, and where'd my phone go? What the fuck? I'll do it next week. Anyway, folks, y'all take it easy. Huh?
Cliffhanger.
Yeah. Y'all take it easy. And again, if anybody's getting some bad weather coming in, because you might be, I want y'all to stay safe out there, stay warm, and we will talk to y'all next week.